same type of intensity. She says, she bores me. I can't stand it. She bores me. Human love can be full of passion. It can be full of feeling. But if that's all human love is, human love can be treacherous. It can be dangerous. I imagine there's some people out there that you've been hurt by the fickleness of love. But what does God say about love? God says love is a matter of choice. Colossians 3:14 says this, and over all virtues put on love, which binds them all together. Love is not based on how beautiful someone is or how desirable, how intelligent, how powerful. Love is a decision that I make. I can put on love. It's not based on the person and their attractiveness. It's based on the fact that they are created in the image of God. Everyone we meet is created in the image of God. They are a unique expression of who God is. They are a unique expression of God's creativity and love. And I owe each person I meet, I owe them a debt of love. I owe them my dignity. I owe them my respect. And as Paul says in Romans 3:8, keep one to point to the screen, let no debt remain outstanding except the continuing debt to love one another. I have this continuing debt I will never be able to pay. And that debt is that I am to love you. So love is a decision. Love is also a matter of conduct. That's your next point in your outline. Love is a matter of conduct. 1 John 3:18 says this, let us not love with words or tongue, but with actions and truth. Saying things can take very little. But true love, real love, it costs us something. The Bible doesn't say that for God so loved the world that he remained in heaven feeling warm and fuzzy feelings towards us. It doesn't say that at all. It said for God so loved the world that he gave his son. To truly love someone, it costs us something. A feeling cannot be commanded, but a decision can be commanded. A conduct can be commanded. God tells us that we are to love. Now, love that is full of that warm feeling, those warm, fuzzy feelings towards someone, that's easy love. That's the kind of love you love because you love being in love, right? That's the cool love. That's the easy love. But the problem is that God has called me to love every person, and I don't feel that way towards every person. In fact, I've met a few people, not many, but a few, where I kind of felt the opposite of warm and fuzzy feelings. There's a story about Winston Churchill. He was the great prime minister during World War II, and Winston Churchill was kind of known to have kind of an attitude. And he had a running battle with someone in royalty named Lady Astor. And so they were at a dinner party one time, and he was acting in what Lady Astor felt was an obnoxious manner. And so she said to Winston Churchill, she says, Mr. Churchill, if you were my husband, I would put arsenic in your drink. So Winston Churchill said, Lady Astor, if you were my wife, I would certainly drink her. And so Lady Astor replies, she says, Mr. Churchill, sir, I believe you are quite drunk. And Winston Churchill says, my lady, I am quite drunk. But you're quite unattractive, and when I wake up, I'll be sober. So they kind of got on each other's nerves there. And I don't think they acted in a biblical manner there. But God has called us to love everyone. It's not a feeling. It's not uncontrollable. It's a decision that I make. So the question is, how to love someone you don't really love. Jesus said this thing, and sometimes I wish he hadn't said it. This is what he said. But I tell you who hear me, love your enemies. If you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners love those who love them. Jesus says that if you love those who love you, whoop-de-doo. He didn't say whoop-de-doo, but that's what is implied there. Everybody loves those who love them. We can go to prisons. We can go to death row and find people that love those who love them. Jesus said the mark of being my follower is not that I just love those who love me, but I love those who don't love me. I love those I don't love. I love those I don't mind. So how do I do that? Well, first of all, I need to hear this command. I need to realize that this is from God. This is not a suggestion. This is not an option. If I want to be a follower of Christ Jesus, then I have to love my enemies. So how many out there in your life, and don't point to anyone in here, someone that you don't have like warm feelings towards right now? That's putting it mildly. Just kind of raise your hand. Okay. I think most hands went up. You weren't thinking about me, were you? Flash of insecurity there. But we all have someone in our life, or in the history of our life, someone that we don't really have those great affections for. Sometimes it's anything from mild annoyance to outright dislike. But God has told us we are to love those people. So I want you to put that person in your mind right now. Close your eyes. Visualize this person. And I want to read this passage to you one more time. Because that's who God is talking about. That's who Jesus is talking about. It says, but I tell you who hear me, love your enemies. If you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners love those who love them. So this person you might have in mind, that's the person that Jesus wants you to love. And I hope you said in your heart, as I read that passage, that Jesus, I'm willing. If you help me to love this person. Not to have the warm fuzzies for him. Jesus doesn't say you are to have the warm fuzzies for your enemies. He says you're to love them. You are to act in a loving way. You don't have to figure that out how you're going to do that right now. But you just have to say that you're willing. Because the next step has nothing to do with loving that person. The next step is truly experiencing God's love for yourself. Everything that I do in my Christian experience comes out of my experience with God. Every command that God gives me is not something I do out of my own strength. It comes as something that I do out of experiencing God and His goodness and His love. Ephesians 3 says this, I pray that Christ will be more and more at home in your heart, living within you as you trust Him. May your roots go deep into the soil of God's marvelous love. That's a pretty cool phrase right there. May your roots go deep into the soil of God's marvelous love. And may you be able to feel and understand how long, how wide, how deep, and how high His love really is. And experience this love for yourself. When I truly experience the love of God, then the things that might seem to be impossible, they become possible. I'll tell you about an experience I had with a person. This was a while back. This was before I was married. My first job out of school was in Southern California, Riverside, California. And I went to work as a staff member at a drug and alcohol rehab, Christian drug and alcohol rehab program. It's a big program. They had like 80, 90 guys in the program. And I had an apartment in the dormitory. And that was a quite active job. It was never a dull moment. But there was this one guy, his name was Art. Art was a big guy. He was probably 6'3", 6'4", probably weighed around 260, 270. And Art had probably the most volatile temper of anyone I've ever met. Now you combine someone that large with that kind of temper, it's a little intimidating. And so within a few days of me arriving there, and of course Art's on my caseload, I think they gave me him on purpose, I don't know. But he's on my caseload. Within days, he's out playing softball. He goes after somebody with a softball bat. I mean, he's so angry. He's charging this guy with his bat. And he didn't hit him, thank God. He said he wasn't going to hit him. And he said he didn't even realize he had a bat in his hand. He just got so mad he just charged the guy, which I kind of believe all that, just knowing him. So we let him stay in the program. I'm getting excited here. And then, within days of that, this was a big facility. And I was in one wing, and Art was way over at the other side of the facility. And I could hear him screaming at the top of his lungs at his roommate. I mean, he was calling his roommate every name you could think of, and names you don't want to think of. He was just laying into him. And so they told me, I need to call Art in and tell him that this is your last chance. One more display like that, and we're going to kick you out of the program. So I called Art into my apartment, and I prayed with him and talked to him. I said, Art, I said, you know why you're here? I said, one more time, and we're going to dismiss you because you're scaring me. You know, you're 275 pounds, and you're so volatile. We're going to kick you out. And Art just began to cry. I mean, he just like fell apart. He was wailing. And he kept on saying, I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know why I can't change. And so he gets up and he walks out, and I hear him going down the hall. He's still crying. I hear him all the way down, going all the way down to his room. He just fell apart. And so I didn't talk to him for a couple of weeks. I just wanted to see how he was doing. Plus, at that facility, there was like at least 5 to 10 crises every day. And so I called him back into my room a couple of weeks later. And I said, how you doing? And he says, I'm doing real good. I go, you are? He goes, yeah. I go, well, what happened? He said, well, I knew that this was my last chance to get my life together. I've been through so many rehab programs that if I didn't make it through this program, if I didn't make it this time, that I was going to die out. See, so I was just praying to God. I was doing my Bible study because that was part of what we did. He had this Bible study on the love of God. And he said, I was reading this booklet, and I was praying, and all of a sudden, I realized, for the first time in my life, that God loved me. He said, I believe God loved my roommate.